You alright?
I'm fine. No, I'm used to bowling, Chris.
That's got to be the opening sequence. Hey guys, welcome back to Raptor's Garage, and today it's all about U-POL Raptor paint, often known as truck bedliner paint, but basically it's used in various different industries for various different applications. It's a super hard wearing paint. We've done lots of videos in the past on using it and how you can use it at home. In the 4x4 industry, it's becoming more and more popular now to use it to paint your vehicle, to take all the basically scratches and the dings and everything that you're going to get when you're out and about. Now, we've done videos in the past, but we're always getting asked questions on how to use it. So you know what? We thought we'll do it all again. Paul's going to show you exactly how to clean up his Heimdall truck ready for paint, which is going to include obviously matching the old paint with the new paint, painting fiberglass, painting metal. So today we're going to show you step by step how you guys can do it at home. So guys, Raptor do a variety of different products. Primarily, they do a black Raptor paint and they do a tintable version of the Raptor paint, and it comes in two kits, the 4-litre kit or the 1-litre kit. But on top of that, they also do an epoxy primer that you can buy either basically in a mixable form or in simple spray cans. They now do the black Raptor in its very own spray can, which is ideal for doing things like touch-ups or maybe spraying smaller things like bumpers, tree sliders and things like that. They've got two different guns that they do. Now, prior to this, we've always used the standard Schultz gun for spraying with Raptor paint, which gave us a fantastic result. This whole vehicle is painted in that way. But recently, we used their Schultz version from Raptor, and that was a fantastic difference. It made the spray pattern so much different. And for 20 quid, if you're going to do this, it is well worth the investment. But today, we're also going to start having a play with Raptor's very own variable gun, which allows us to get a much finer texture. So we're just going to see the sort of differences between the heavy coarse texture that we've used previously on Heimdall, and we're going to have some fun today just messing about, seeing what's called fine textures you can get if you want that kind of finer finish. Also, they do it in a roller version. Exactly the same paint, but the roller kit is basically a nice little kind of stipple effect you can create using these foam rollers. So it makes it easy for the person who can't maybe get access to something like a compressor and the gear in order to spray it on like we're going to do today. So guys, this thing is just looking amazing. I saw the Instagram photos, the same as you'd have done it. This is the first time I've seen it in the flesh today. This thing's come out absolutely fantastic. Paul's just basically cranked out in 3 days a ton of welding, about 10 days worth of welding. We're basically going to take you through now prepping the vehicle. So obviously the difference now is we've got some red oxide paint here. There could have been different primers you could have used. Paul's going to explain the options. We've got the Fibreglass from the LongRanger kit. Now this comes with basically a releasing agent on it. So that's going to have to be basically cleaned up properly. Yeah, so you've got to make sure that's prepped properly. Also, Paul's going to be, again, as we've done before, he'll show you how easy it is to actually match old Raptor paint with new Raptor paint. You don't have to respray the entire vehicle. So Paul, what do we need to do now to get this all cleaned up and ready to go?
Right, well, first thing for cleaning, we've got panel wipe. I think the Australians call it Prepsol, the Americans call it something else. Yeah. But basically it's just a spirit-based cleaner. Yeah, right. It evaporates really quickly. You put it on with one cloth, you wipe it off with another, and it lifts the grease off. Basically degreases the panel. Yeah. Doesn't remove organics, so if you've got dirt on the car, wash it first. You can use a combination of water and methylated spirits, which degreases and lifts the organic, which is dirt. This removes oil only. Okay. So any tip I saw you mentioned once before in the video is spray cloth, not the vehicle, because you start spraying on the vehicle, it will run, but then you'll get issues. Grease will gather in different crannies. Or spray it on the cloth white. Yeah, or even just put it in a cup and dip your cloth into a cup. Yeah. Have one wet cloth, one dry cloth. Or, as we've run out of cloth, we've got no crow's foot cloths, because normally we use crow's foot cloth. we've got paper towel today, which will be fine for this.
Yeah.
It's not like it's going to be a show car.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad. We can tack cloth it down after.
Yeah. It's the thing, guys. We're showing you how to do this kind of stuff at home. You know, yeah, Paul's got a bigger garage than most, but this is not in a unit. This is not with a booth. This is basically how you can do this at home.
Yeah.
And still get an awesome looking finish.
Get a good finish out of it. But as for primers, like Chris was just saying, this is in red oxide. That's because I've got red oxide. Really, the ideal thing would have been to epoxy it, but we'd run out of epoxy and it was late at night, and this is where I've got to stop it rusting. Because at the moment, as you all know, it's raining all the time, and there's your Raptor's garage weather forecast. It's raining all the time, everything's damp. This isn't a heated workshop, and you don't want rust getting in under your paint. So as soon as this was welded, cleaned off, degreased, I put a coat of primer on it. This primer won't react, it's still inert, it's not going to have any issues. But what we are going to do is when we've degreased these panels, because they're such a light colour, I am going to prime these in a dark charcoal grey to take the black. It's always better to do your base coat as close as you can to your top coat, because you'll use less material. You're not having to build layer after layer to get it to cover. Because there's nothing worse than putting paint on going, I can still see the base coat, it's graining. So this is going charcoal grey, this will go charcoal grey because obviously we've got to spray up around the sides. I've pre-checked that the primer I'm using won't react with this. There's a couple of test patches down here, so that I could get the right primer. We're using just a high build grey primer, a 2-pack high build grey primer. So the first job is clean this off and get it panel wiped.
Yeah, and guys, if you're thinking...
But just one thing, but panel wipe before you sand, so that you're not sanding the oil into the material. Make sure before you do anything, panel wipe it, degrease it first, then sand it, then panel wipe it again, and then just for good measure, panel wipe it again.
Guys, you might be thinking, you know, it's going to be tricky to paint this, and it's going to be hard. Obviously, if it had a bigger workshop, we'd had more space, could have built the frame, painted it, painted the vehicle, put them all back together,
and then painted the chassis.
This is as real as it gets, guys. We're doing this, like I said, at home, in a garage, so we don't have the facilities, we don't have the space, the weather's been awful for the last couple of months.
Ideally what we should have done is paint this, build this,
paint
this, weld it to the chassis, to where the roll cage and everything, because this is a roll bar, it is welded to the chassis, and then paint the chassis. That would be the ideal way, but we're on a time crunch. We're doing this between working as well, so it's for speed and efficiency. I can still spray down these gaps. This one's going to be a bit hard, but that's where the variable gun's going to come in. With
the finer spray more.
With the finer spray, so that I can actually lower the amount of material going down and just mist it in. So at least I'll get the Raptor behind the bar. You'll never get it 100%. If you ever took this off, you would always have that line where it sort of fades to the middle. And I know that, but it's not going to rust because it's fiberglass. So I'm not worried. And most of the time it's going to have canopy on. And even yesterday I was thinking of actually putting a nice aluminium plate on the back of this. Well, we're doing the aluminium. No, put stickers on. While the canopy's not on.
So guys, big shout out and thanks as always to UPod Raptor. They supply us with the paint to do these because we used it for a long time. Got in touch with them, you know, they enjoyed what we did and they help us out with the paint, and honestly it's a great help for doing all these jobs. We love the stuff, we're going to use them on all the vehicles, we always do. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we're going to crack on now and get this thing all prepped ready for paint. So guys, we're dipping in a jug. Paul did have a couple of spray bottles, but he blew the workshop up a few weeks back. Long story, John Smith. And so we're just basically dipping it in a cup.
And just another quick one for you guys. While you are using the panel wipe to clean everything down, do your window rubbers, because that's where you're going to be sticking your tape, and it cleans all the window rubbers up and your tape sticks really well. Is it original? Yeah, some of it is. Windscreen?
Yeah, not much of it left original.
That's pretty good. That's quite clean though, isn't it? I think if we put a fake line in for the Raptor, because you've got that double seam in the window, if we actually mask to there and spray down to that line, give us a fake line, and it'll just hide where we put the mastic in.
Right guys, so we just panel wiped the whole vehicle down, so next step is to basically key it, isn't it?
Well, I'm just keying it for the primer.
So the idea of that is basically to put very fine like scratches
in
it so that the paint can actually adhere to it, isn't it?
Yeah, just a key.
Flat, it won't stick.
So I'm just going to do the fiberglass with a 500 grit because it doesn't need a lot, because it isn't like we're going for a mirror finish, it's not like we're doing paint, we're doing Raptor, so all I need to do is key the surface. So I'm going to 500 grit the surface. I could probably go a bit coarse, I could probably go 320s, I'll see. I might swap out to 320s if it doesn't look coarse enough for the primer.
Right.
So I'm just going to have a go with this, see how it comes out, and then I'll tell you whether I ended up using 320s or 500s, but I don't really need to go anywhere more than that. I don't need to go like 240s. I'm not like going to build it up, because I'm not worried about having to hide the scratches because they won't come back through.
Okay, right, quick point, this is a DA, which means it's essentially sucking out all the dust as
No, this is a dual action sander with extraction.
Right.
So it's got a hoover attached to it. Basically, it sucks up the dust as we're going.
Okay, so
which is great. Is great on fiberglass.
And everything.
Yeah, wear a mask, wear gloves, all the usual bits. I'm still going to chuck a mask on, but this does hoover up everything as we're going. It's quite good. But so I'm going to see how this 500 comes out, and then I'll tell you if I'm stuck with the 500 or went to the 320.
So good.
So let's have a test on this
Grab
panel.
some masks and I'll get the camera.
I'll just have a test on this panel. It's taking the shine off. That seems to be working. I might just go a bit coarser, because I'm going to put a high build primer on, so I might just go for the 320s. But when you've done the big areas, if you take your sanding pad and just do in all the corners, in all these little bits where you can't get the DA in, so it's like all these little grooves have all got to be done by hand, and these edges just need taking down. And obviously if we were painting it, we'd spend a lot more time doing this, but like I keep saying, we are Raptor lining it, so yeah, I think we'll just go for the 320s, whichever camera I'm on. One of the other.
Right guys, so everything's had a bit of a rub down. We actually went up to an 80 on some of that fiberglass just to make sure it was basically had a good basic scratch up ready for paint. And then some 180, some 320. We've done obviously everything that's been red oxide has had a quick rub over. It's all been blown down with the air gun now. Now the beauty of Raptor paint, we've said this before, is it is very forgiving. You've not got to get anything near perfect here. It's not like you're painting, ordinary kind of paint finishes. It's very forgiving. You're not got to sort of get too anal about worrying about what it's like. As long as you're giving it a good scratch coat, ready for it to adhere to, and like everything, clean it. Make sure when you are doing your prepping, you're going to give it a good clean. So we're obviously going to wipe it all over again now, and then we're going to get ready for the Raptor paint. We'll show you how to mix that before we lay it on.
Just one quick thing is that you only get one chance at the prep. Spend extra, if it takes you an extra 15 minutes on the prep, may save the paint falling off in a year's time.
We've had Jason, who's basically the chief technician at Raptor, actually come and visit us here at Raptor's garage, and he said to us, the one problem they can always basically go back to when people have rung up and have said they've had a problem is it's been in the prep.
It always is. All the years working in paint shops, and it's always down to the prep.
Yeah. If you've got something that's flaking already, your paint on top of that is not going to hold it down, it's just going to carry on flaking off.
Well, it's just if you don't clean it down or don't key it properly, because I've just seen a miss on that back panel there while I'm standing here.
I'm just looking at this bottom piece again.
Yeah, we haven't done that bit, and we could paint over that, it'll look great for 6 months, and then it'll all fall off. Yeah. So go round, give it a sand, give it a panel wipe again, any shiny bits you see, sand them, because you always miss bits. I don't care who you are or who you think you are, you're going to miss a bit. Yeah. There's going to be a bit in the corner, and it's always the corners. It's those tight little corners. That's where the paint will blister, and that's where it'll start lifting. Yeah. That's where it's going to fall off. Yeah. So sand it once, clean it again, panel wipe it, let it dry, and you'll soon see all the shiny bits. And then just go round, do all your shiny bits. Even if you go around with a scotch pad, a red scotch pad or a grey scotch pad, just go in, get rid of them, quick wipe down again, you're good, your paint's going to last. That's my top tip of the day.
Top tip of the day.
And the sun's out, and that's my weather forecast.
Yeah, but it's not in the garage.
It's bloody
My hands are
freezing!
freezing just touching this metal.
Yeah, this truck's cold. I think we're going to have to put the heater on this just to warm the metal up before we paint it.
Yeah, it's not an ideal time of the year to be painting. It's a bit cold, isn't it?
It is a bit cold.
But again, we've got the ability to actually warm the shop up. We've got a big diesel heater we can do to just get some warmth into here, because you don't want to be too cold laying the paint on, do you?
No,
It just takes too long to dry.
It just went. I've got some infrared lamps, so we can actually cure it. So we should get there. Health and safety's coming. Yeah. Are we doing it correctly now? You smell fiberglass. Go away.
It's an interesting point, guys. I put red oxide on my primer 3 years ago.
No. He's only had that
I only
much.
had that much. I put red oxide on my chassis 3 years ago, and none of it's rusted at all. And my car's sat outside for 3 years, and it's sat at pause for 6 months. So question it as you may, I have no issue with it whatsoever. So there's loads in my head as to what I'm going to say. Fucking bollocks.
If it isn't the birds, it's chainsaws.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to Raptor's Garage, and today it's all about U-Pole Raptor paint. Often known, see this, we're going to have this all day now with this chainsaw going.
Wait for him to shut up. We are rolling, we are live, and there's a guy with a chainsaw making a hell of a row. And I'm going to shoot the fucker if he doesn't shut up in a minute.
Yeah, near the birds. The compressor, you all know what a compressor is, but the fucking
guy with the chainsaw up a tree.
Yeah.
If we shoot him and he falls on his chainsaw, I think it'll hide the bullet wound.
Makes such a mess of it.
Well, we remember just stab him with the chainsaw.
Or just take a chainsaw to the very bottom and just lock the whole
I
tree
just
off.
heard the branch fall, so he might turn that saw off. Must admit, I mean, red oxide's what they prime all the steel work with, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
I heard that argument apparently the old red oxide this year was lead.
that was red lead.
Was a lot.
Before it became red oxide.
Actually did the job. But
Yeah, that works. I used to use a lot of that,
Yeah.
20, 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that stuff does not. That and calcium plumbate doesn't rust. But the sun's out and it's lovely.
Yeah, update today. Weather forecast in Raptor's Garage. Hands are still freezing cold. Can't feel
That's why we're standing out here drinking beer.
Standing in the sun.
We're not just standing under a big light. Look, big ball of fire in the sky. That's probably going to look. This camera's really dusty. Hang on. No, they've all fell. Oh, they fell over. There we go. Oh, look. The wall's actually outside in the sun. And still a big shout out to all the sponsors, because it wouldn't be possible without them. Or Alfie. Truck's all masked up now, guys. We're ready for primer. Chris is down there in the darkness and the ether. He's taping the cables up out the way so we don't spray all the colour codes black, because that always makes it fun to work out what colours we're wiring to. But yeah, let me just go around the front and I'll show you what the front looks like. So we've just done basically pulled the door rubbers off, done inside the door shots to where the door rubbers are going, because the Raptor liner builds up on the inside edges and it makes it really difficult to push the rubbers back on, so we always just put to the edge where the rubber's going to go. There's the front all masked up. Just covered up because we're not actually spraying the front, are we? So there you go. Hello. I'm used to bowling, Chris.
That's got to be the opening sequence.
I would like to point out that liberal helpings of beer make you bounce when you fall, and shit's not really safe here. Don't come here, it's dangerous. Hey up. It's taking it bits.
It's all kind of bits again, but it's got seats in the back.
Ooh, seats! I'm just thinking dinner.
Yeah, sounds like fun to me.
Let's go and get some dinner. I'm going to have to take your car
Yes, sir.
because you're blocking us in.
Yeah. That's
And like I'm just telling these lot here,
yeah.
it's not safe here. You can fall to your death
You can
at
fall
any
to-
moment.
Yeah.
And
And
then
we'll just take this out as it is now because that box will just
fall off.
leave us somewhere out the way.
Karen will always tell you the funniest thing was watching me spray a high roof transit
Yeah.
up on the trestle. Says, saw you getting to the front and then just disappeared because you fell off the end of the trestle. Well, we've reached that time of the day where we're actually going to put the Raptor liner on. Now, if you've not had one of these kits before, they come with everything. Here's one that we've been using. That's the activator or hardener, whatever you want to call it. That's from a 1 litre kit. That's the hardener you'll actually get in a 4 litre kit because you'll get a litre of it. You get the exact measuring cup. Now this cup will give you, hang on, it does actually say on here somewhere, 237 millilitres of a hardener per 1 litre bottle. So fill that up to the line, tip it in the bottle, and as it says, shake it. Shake it for 2-3 minutes and that's it, it's ready to go. Now we've also got the aerosol. We're going to be using that tomorrow in a different video. Now this kit, when we opened it, had something extra in it. Now this bag of powder is for it's anti-slip. It's basically if you want to make a high traction area. So if you're doing something where you're going to be walking, you add a percentage of this per bottle, and it gives it just basically makes it more gritty. So it's an anti-slip additive, and that's it. That's what you get in the box. Whoa, that jumped out. Did you see that? But that's what a box looks like when it comes. You get 4 bottles, one measuring cup, and 1 litre of activator. And in this one, I said there's some of the anti-slip additive. Shh, rustling plastic. So I'm ready to actually put this on now. I'm just going to tack rag the back of this truck down, and I'm going to use that measuring cup, that activator in there, and I'm going to use the vary gun. Now I've not used the vary gun before, so that's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I can't tell you guys how good this stuff is. I love this stuff. I wish everyone had the cars painted with it because it'd be a lot easier for me. What colour do you want your car? Black and textured. Awesome, sorted. So I want one of them, and I want one of them, and one of them, and I'm ready to go. Let me just grab this vary gun. This is the one I'm going to be using, and it's got the adjustable nozzle on it. So, like I said, I've not used it yet. That's all the way in, that'll be all the way out. So one way or the other will alter the texture, and I'll tell you in a minute because I actually don't know because I've not used it. So like I said, learning curve for me on this one, so I'm excited. It's the only exercise I get. Shaking the wrap.
Apart from jumping off trestles and
Yeah, falling to me down. Yeah, that was the other one. That's helpful. Right, we're just going to have a play with this because Chris is interested to see what patterns we can get. Right, that is screwed all the way in. So it doesn't go any further than that, so what's that give us? Nothing. Come on.
too fine because it's just
Just don't think it's picked it up yet. This is a brand new gun out the box, guys, so... there we go. Right.
straight away is much finer than normal, isn't
Right, that doesn't work at that point, so it picks nothing up. So, let's go at 1.5 turns, see what that does. Oh wow. Oh,
That is that kind of almost sandpaper effect. I don't
Yeah.
even pick it up on the camera.
so that's
guys, but-
nearly, that is 1.5 turns out from all the way in.
Yeah.
So
Try it further back as well.
I just did. That's
As
what I
it-
was
as
doing.
it-
I was bringing it back then
Yeah.
just to see how it went. I started there and I came back. Okay, so the further out you wind it, so that's like halfway.
Or it opens it up to.
Yeah, that'll be really heavy then. That's more like what we've got on.
Yeah.
So I think we want somewhere in between those two, don't we, for the chassis? Let's pick a pattern. Pick a pattern.
Pick a
Any
pattern.
pattern.
That's nice.
That's nice. That'll do for the chassis,
Yeah.
won't it? The chassis and the metalwork.
Yeah.
So I'll go and put a quick coat on. And that gives good coverage as well because it's not broken up. And then we can go to the Schultz gun to do the body because that'll be heavier. There's a reason for doing the inside of the chassis with not such a heavy coat, because like the inside parts, there's bits got to go in, like the fuel tank's got to fit back in, and there is tolerances for things to go back in. So we don't want to build up loads and loads of paint and then find everything's a real tight squeeze to go back in. Plus the inside of the chassis isn't going to get knocked. All this has got to do is protect it from rust and water. So we can go a finer finish on the inside bits, the underside. So A, we use less material, and B, it just doesn't need to be as heavy. That's one of the reasons, but I think that's a nice finish. So hopefully the GoPro's doing that justice, but we'll get the other camera and have a look in a bit. This variable gun is absolutely brilliant. It is much more directional, much more controllable, and makes the material go a lot further. I'm only like that far in, and I've pretty much done all the underside of the chassis and all the, basically I'll be able, because it's such a closed tight spray, it's actually more like spraying the aerosol than actually spraying it through the Schultz gun. This 1 litre will do all inside this, and it'll probably go in the one coat because it's such a closed coat. And this is going to get a coat of wax oil over the top of it anyway, on the chassis itself. But all the back sides in the tight joints, absolutely mint. Definitely worth. If you're really thinking about Raptor in your truck, spend the extra money, get one of these, because you can get every finish you want. I am well impressed. Right, back to painting. How nice is that finish? I just got it in there. No, it's not a quick job, but we're getting there.
So guys, Paul's on about litre, well he's actually not about, he's on litre number 5. So it's gone on fantastic. This variable gun gives you so much more scope to do a really fine textured finish, which is what he's done on the chassis, just to basically try it out, because what sort of finish I want to go for on Red 5 when I do that. I want to do it in a tintable version in a red, like a really fine texture. Obviously Paul wants to match the new fiberglass body with the existing truck, so he's done a more coarser texture for that, which means he's just basically adjusted the variable gun and he's got a coarser texture. And again, this is even better than the short Raptor gun, because it just gives you such a nice even finish, although it's a heavier texture. So it's almost finished now. We basically, we've had the air filter running, we've got the doors open again, so the temperature dropped a bit, which is not ideal for doing this. Again, you know, it's nicer to do this in the summer when it's a bit warmer, but we've got a diesel heater and everything. So I'm going to take you in now to show you how Paul is finishing things up.
Just a quick look at it, guys. It's all black. What we're going to do is leave this alone now tonight, and we're going to give you a proper look at it in the morning when it's dry and we can roll it outside, probably in the rain, which probably means the chassis will crack.
Yeah, because it's clearly not strong enough.
But no, it looks awesome. Can't wait to get the rest of the bits on now. There's a checker plate bed going on. We've now decided in either 3 pieces or 4 pieces, did we decide?
Yeah, we're trying to, we simply cannot have one piece cut big enough. So rather than having cuts in irrelevant places, I've suggested to Paul that have a strip here and a strip there, which are permanently bonded down and fixed. Then I said about 1 strip down the middle, and Paul suggested maybe split it down to 2. So if you need to be, whilst you can get to everything underneath, that's the advantage of this kind of design, but you can take it off, you get to the basically the petrol sensor, if you any problems with that. Plus you can get to the water tank a lot easier if there's any issues with that. So these 2 pieces in the centre it could be removable, and it works out about 1.5 sheets.
Yeah, because it's quite funny. I've been welding this together all week and working out where everything's going. I rang the people up about the aluminium, said can they do it in 1 sheet, and they said no, there's no way they can get a sheet cut that size. What is it, 15x17?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do it. And I was thinking of how to do it going across, and it's weird how your brain works, that you've looked at something for so long that you can't actually work out that, well, just do it the other way, it's far easier. And it just takes someone to come in and go, yeah, do it that way. And that makes sense instantly, but because you've stared at something for so long,
you just lose the concept sometimes.
It's just like, you can't get it out of your head how to do it another way. And that's why it's always good to have bounce ideas off other people for that reason. And as soon as Chris said it today, I said, oh, of course that makes sense, just do it along the strips and then split it in the middle. I've almost put the pieces in exactly the right places to do it. So
because otherwise, if you'd done it, like I said, from lengthways, from left to right,
we would have had
more pieces in it, or
yeah,
like you said, started welding the sheets on.
I would have had to take 1 sheet and welded it together down the middle, and it's like. But besides me having an idiot moment, which
looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks absolutely awesome.
It's a bit unusual, guys, because normally we're so short for time on these projects that we'll now start putting it all back together. But fortunately, we can leave well alone now for the night. Come back to this tomorrow. We're going to get the wheels on it tomorrow. Yeah, we can ruin it tomorrow. We're going to get the wheels on it tomorrow, so we can, if it's dry, maybe roll it out so we can see it in the daylight and get a better shot. Because you know, for the last 7, 8, 9 videos, guys, you've been stuck in here with us. It's been dim. It's not the best of light to really appreciate just how awesome.
That's why we're getting new lighting, Chris.
Get some new lighting eventually.
Yeah, we are getting new lighting, but we've got to get this truck out of the way first.
The girls keep reminding us you've got 4 trucks, none of which are usable at the moment. So please get them finished.
This one's very close to finish. It will have wheels tomorrow.
Yeah.
Won't have a fuel tank, but it will have wheels. Well, I'll have a fuel tank, it just won't have a fuel pipe. I'll weld a fuel pipe up tomorrow.
That's got to be done.
Right guys, we'll see you in the morning. And that'll be in the next scene.
Boom, we said we'd be back, and yeah, clean shaven and showered, but still aching like buggery. I mean, I don't know how Paul's surviving. I mean, he's done 10 times the stuff that I've done. But
And fell to my death.
Yeah, and fell to his death yesterday. So guys, it's sunny, kind of. Raptor's garage weather report. We're going to wheel it out. By the end of the day, hopefully we're going to get the fuel tank in.
I want to be able to start it up by the end of the day. Well, no, I want to be able to start it up by the end of time.
Right, so we're going to pull it out, guys.
So this is the first time we've seen it outside. So
yeah, we've not been able to sort of step back and actually have a look at it. So it might look really cool close up and just absolute crap from a distance. We'll soon find out.
No, that's not good for the crap. 1, 2, 3. No, you're right, look shit. Put it back together.
Dinky is compared to that one.
Wow. That looks awesome.
So guys, if you haven't been watching the series of videos, basically what we've done is we've chopped a Land Rover Discovery 1 in half, fitted this fiberglass rear panel from LongRanger 4x4, which includes this lowered roof section here, and then basically Paul has fabricated this entire
I'd go for fabric cobbled.
back frame. Fabric cobbled, I'd say fabricated. This thing is stronger than anything that was factory standard.
That looks awesome. We get the camera, let's have a walk around. Right, let's go this way. Over into the shady part of the... Right, so we started with that, guys. This one doesn't have it yet, but it's having the same treatment. Wow, considering that paint's still fresh and still drying. That looks awesome. You still see the LongRanger logo across the back, which we didn't know if that was going to disappear. That rear section's going to be awesome with the lights and the number plate in.
Guys, just to clarify a few questions in the comments and things like that. This is built for overlanding. This is not a grey worm. This is not an extreme off-road vehicle. Grey worm's going to have a full, proper roll cage put in. This is for off-roading. So things like this headache bar are massively substantial. But if you roll an overlanding vehicle, it's more than likely it's going to be a slow roll. You're going to be tackling something and you're going to feel the vehicle go. So things like this, bars down the side, are all useful points then to winch to basically pull your vehicle back upright. You've got these tree sliders obviously to push the vehicle away so you don't damage side panels and things like that. This is still built into the chassis. This is massively substantial for anything that is ever going to happen to this vehicle. All of this tray is tied into the chassis. It's tied in at the points where the existing body was mounted. This thing is massively over-engineered and is more than substantial for the job it's going to be doing, which is, again, it's a vehicle for overlanding, not rolling down massive great hills because you've tried some crazy stunt getting up a steep hill.
Well, not today.
It should be able to, though. Also, a few people have said to us, when we basically chopped the body off in the first place, you're going to extend it to 110 inches. Why would we do that? I have enough trouble in the L200 getting around some of those switchbacks and tight circles and basically navigating through tiny little villages in the L200, which has got the longer wheelbase. I want to keep this basically 100-inch wheelbase because it's a perfect little vehicle then for getting around corners, going down the hills, going up the hills and everything that we're going to be doing with this vehicle for the purpose that we built it for.
Just give you a quick update of where we're at. There's Chris, he's running off.
It works.
We have just fired it up, it all works, got the fuel tank in. Chris has found beer in the fridge.
Beer.
Back to Doombar. There's just fired it all up now. We had a mishap when I managed to stand on the fuel pipe and break it. There's an air fitting welded to the side of the what the hell's that thing called?
It's
something separator, isn't it?
Yeah, the fuel separator.
Yeah, like sediment separator.
Sediment separator.
Sediment separator, that's it. I knew it was called something. So we sorted out a piece of 5/16 fuel pipe, sorted that out. That's a temporary fix, so it's probably going to be permanent now. Need some Jubilee clips on it to make it permanent though, and some cable ties. But yeah, fuel tank's in, that's all done, sorted. Everything lined up, went in first go, all that's going to be cable tied in and the pipes have got to be done. We've not yet worked out what we're going to do with this, because we think that's going to be in the way there.
Yeah, I think if we get a 90 here, so it comes out and it runs up and comes in at the rear. So you've got
even if it comes
lights
in a bit lower.
Yeah. I was just thinking, at least then the pipe itself is in the flow of how you're moving.
Yeah.
So if anything catches, it might brush against it rather than catching and ripping it off.
Side panel, the side trims are on the canopy now. They just finished that job off. These are nice. They're just glued on with PU adhesive again. You know, we'll glue anything together with that stuff.
So guys, would you believe?
There. Start again.
So guys, would you believe that that has taken exactly a month? So whilst I appreciate, you know, we've made some promises on when Grey Worm will be done, Heimdall kind of just like jumped the queue, but that was done in a month. From chopping the back off, it was exactly 4 weeks ago, to being drivable now with the tray back. There's just some lights to go on the rear, and obviously stage 2 of the build is going to be building the canopies, but we're going to basically build 2 simultaneously, so that we'll get those done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to adapt to the L200 to take the canopy with the tent on, and then at some point in the future, once we get Grey Worm done, we might just chop another disco in half. But
well, that's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, so we kind of got addicted to it. But when you look at this, we're going to take you for a walk around. It just makes sense for what we do. And again, this Paul explained all this in the beginning, because everyone was quite shocked. He'd just done all the work, chopping the roof down, getting the centre of gravity of that roof tent lower.
Didn't work for me.
It didn't work for him. It was a space thing at the end of the day. And we'd found from using my L200 with that initial concept of just putting the box on the back, we tended to find on our last Pyrenees trip, we all kind of like got drawn towards that because it was easy to cook on, the gear was
just
there,
your magnetic personality, Chris.
I'd like to think that, but
He struck us just what you saw.
I think my magnetic personality is going, so I need to think of other ways to attract people to my vehicle. That could sound so wrong.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Would you like some sweeties, children?
No, just like some beer, Paul.
Yeah.
So guys, this has come out, it's kind of brilliant. We just posted pictures on Instagram, everyone's just saying awesome build. I think one of the best comments has been, somebody actually said they've watched a lot of our videos and they've just seen that we keep doing something and then we'll look at it and we'll modify it and we'll adapt it, and everything just keeps getting better and better and better.
It's just we can't leave alone.
No, it's just this learning curve. We're taking everything we've learned each time we do it, albeit quite quick from chopping the roof off and then a couple of weeks later thinking, don't like that, chopping it off. LongRanger kit's awesome, guys. Really pleased with that. That's been brilliant. So yeah, come and have a look around, and obviously don't forget to stick your comments below. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's anything you think we've done on this, other ways we could do it, maybe when we do the next one, you know, or things, you know, give us some ideas of something we could go, like that idea, let's do something a bit different. So don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and
because you never know, we might change it.
Yeah,
I already said, well, paint's not dry yet, we can always cut it again.
that's true.
Thirds this time. We took the top off, we've cut it in half, quarters. If we did it, if we took it down the middle, we could make like 2 motorbikes.
Intelligible. I quite liked it, but it was sat there yesterday with no wheels on the back, and I kept thinking it just needs a centre wheel at the back. How manoeuvrable would that be? So first thing I'm going to say, guys, is that variable gun is absolutely awesome, isn't it? I mean, you've done painting, spraying for decades, but for what this paint has been, we've gone from the shorts gun to the Raptor shorts gun to that variable gun. So much.
It's a world of difference. Yeah. It's not the same. Oh, there I am. There's. It's not the same. It's just a completely different tool for the job.
Yeah.
And you can get such, well, hence variable. You can get different effects with it. It's great.
A lot of people comment it's not. I would say it's a Marmite thing, but some people just don't like that coarse, heavy texture that you'll see on my L200. You'll see on most of Heimdall. But we've had a play doing a much finer texture, which we've seen done in the past, and you can get an absolutely totally different finish if you want to. If you want a different finish, you're not necessarily laying it on thick because of certainly the bumpers. We get bash them all the time. Rock sliders, we bash them all the time. The stuff is still as hard wearing if you're doing this finer texture, but it's just basically an aesthetic thing, what you like, what you don't like. But the adjustability you've got with that gun is fantastic. And one thing that a lot of people ask is how well does Raptor spray paint hold up? This is a couple of years old now, this, isn't it?
2 years old,
2 years old. This is brand new. Next time you see this truck, once Paul's washed it, because I don't think it'll be too long till he's washing it, you'll be able to see just how well this matches up. I guarantee you will not notice the difference. That's how, I've seen it happen before when we've basically done touch-ups. You will not see any difference. All this looks, this is just basically dirty from all it's been sat in grime in the workshop.
Yeah, it's covered in grinding dust.
This is brand new. The next time you see that, you'll not know the difference. It's great stuff for just matching in. Working our way back. This thing is just awesome. Mate, your fabrication skills never cease to amaze me. But when I left it last weekend, we'd knocked up the sort of the outside, and we put some some drops in to support it, and then Paul took 3 days off work and just smashed this out. And when I came back yesterday, I was just like, whoa, that looks
it's unreal, isn't it?
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, you've got the lip in here where either checker plate or maybe just plain aluminium is going to sit and be supported, so it's actually basically not going to get caught when the canopy's been slid off.
When you
just not going to catch.
Basically, there's a 3mm lip on this inside edge, so that we're going to put a 3mm sheet of something. I think it's going to just be plain aluminium because I've just been looking at the back of yours, and for just sliding stuff on and off, I don't think it needs the checker plate. I think it can just have the flat plate.
You'll never see it. It's twice the money to have it done in checker plate. And like I said, checker plate looks great when it's all nicely polished up. But you just we've just seen the state of mind when taking the canopy off. It's never going to look polished up.
So, alright guys, just the Raptor's garage weather forecast. That's the sun.
Yeah. And
it's blinding me. I'm going to have to shut the doors and go back into the dark in a minute.
One thing you thought about, mate, is you talk about putting maybe a piece of checker plate.
Yeah, on the back. Yeah, I am.
Or again, a plain piece so that you can maybe spray it in a colour or
do something with it. I haven't decided yet. We'll see what it looks like when this is on. What it may have, or a half sheet or something, just coming up to there.
Yeah.
Just for if you have anything slide over, so you don't smash all through the fiberglass.
Yeah.
So even if we just came up to like that height.
Yeah, because your advantage being is obviously when that's flat, you could have stuff on it.
You can put stuff on it.
Doing day-to-day normal stuff, picking stuff up, picking bits of machining parts up.
You can use these bars underneath to tie down to and put straps over if you just want to go and pick stuff up.
Yeah, and like I said, then just put some sort of band.
Or go and pick the checker plate up for actually getting the stuff because it won't go in the van.
Yeah, I was trying to work out if we could fix 2 more of these kits on when we collect them, so we take it out and see.
Put them on the back.
Yeah,
we could actually.
Yeah,
it would go on.
So guys, so the fuel tank's back in. We've obviously got some modifications to do to that for the filler pipe as to where we're going to put it to.
Yeah, we don't know where that's going yet.
So some great comments from one of you guys was all about basically putting this water tank in. Obviously they'd said put some basic rubber hosing on the threads on those bars. Those bars are actually spaced out from it. They're not even going to be in contact with that tank. But it's a good point. If you're going to do something like that, we're going to use threaded bar to clamp your tank in place. If that bar is in any way rubbing up against that plastic tank, it is going to wear a hole through it. So think about that if you do it.
But once that water tank's in, it's clamped down, it can't move. So it shouldn't vibrate against them anyway, but the bars are actually stepped out, 5mm clearance either side.
Touch it.
So that's why I landed them on
the trick which this clever fucker did. So the trucks, because of the suspension, is always going to sit at a slight angle. I'm looking at the tray, thinking that tray looks a little bit pissed. And then once you've got everything back together, the tray now with the water in sits perfectly flat, even though the vehicle is sitting slightly with the back end up, because some clever ass decided to actually work out exactly how the vehicle
angle will be when the handle's on the truck,
and ensure that the water tank is sat perfectly straight, so your water's perfectly level in the back. That's a whole new video. We've had a lot of comments about using the UV lights in that. We are perfectly aware just putting a set of UV lights into a water tank is not going to purify everything and clean everything. The point of this is
unless you're going to put like inline filters and stuff in.
Me and Paul don't drink water out of our tank. We'll boil it for coffees. We use it for cooking. We don't drink out of it, but it's still water. It's going to get on your hands if you're washing your hands. So anything in there. If we can put something else in there in order to help kill bacteria, kill viruses.
Like I said in the other video, can't do any harm.
No, and again, somebody commented that, well, if that's the best promotion you can do, just say, well, it can't do any harm. It's just that's what we're saying. It's not going to do any harm. There's plenty of evidence out there that using UV light is extremely beneficial for killing these things. Yeah, I'm sure people are going to argue the science of it and everything like that. If we decide to drink it, and in the future we might start looking at putting extra additional filters in. But we just use it for cooking and for basically boiling.
But let's face it, if you hadn't got the water tank in, you'd have a jerry can full of water.
Yeah.
One of the plastic
be
water tanks, and it's just a water tank full of water. That's going to be a water tank with a purifying light in it.
Yeah.
And it can be on while we're driving, so it's on 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
I know exactly the wavelength that the LED runs at. It'll break down certain bacteria. It won't break down other bacteria.
Yeah. So it's part of something that we may add on to as we go.
But your only other option is to chuck water purifying tablets in, which is just chemicals. Well, that does the same job. Yeah. We could go real old school and throw a silver dollar in there. That works too.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're so skint we might have to sort of run around to get it back out because times are hard.
I throw it on a string.
Yeah.
Like a tea bag.
Yeah. So yes, that's a whole new video, guys, and we're going to be interested in your input for the guys who've got more extensive systems. I know Neil at Forby's got an awesome setup where he basically can pasteurize his water. He can basically throw a hose into
But he still runs the UV light in.
And he'll still run the UV light.
He runs the UV light and then he runs it through a heat exchanger and he basically boils the water in the tank. Yeah. So he pasteurizes it.
And he's got some R&D going on at the moment to basically build those UV filters into an actual carbon filter of some sort. So once again, it's all interesting stuff. And again, guys, give us your input on.
But something's better than nothing.
Exactly. But primarily, we will always try and drink water out of bottled water.
Out of a beer bottle.
Yeah. Yes. If we get to the stage where we're having to drink it out of that, then we're either very remote. I mean, we'll have planned ahead. We'd have thought we're going to go to locations this time where we can't get bottled water. Let's adapt our water drinking facilities.
Does that mean we ran out of beer?
That's we ran out of beer. We're going old school, like they did in medieval times.
We can't drink water.
Yeah, let's get the water out and make it into beer.
Yeah, we're going to carry hops.
Yeah, we're going to brew as we go. That's the best way.
Quality that.
Yeah, that's the idea, isn't it?
That's what that beer barrel's for. It's not going to be a fuel tank.
So this week Paul's got planned is some wiring, going to get the lights in.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for the same sort of tombstone lights that we used on the L200. They've not let us down. They've not got water in. They've gone for a year. They've been sat aside for 6 months. There's been no problems with them. So we're going to go with those.
Finish off the paint, wiring, fuel pipes, connect all them up, get the water tank in, work out where everything's going to go. Pretty much done.
Yeah.
This is ready to, once I've got this fuel pipe sorted, this can go for an MOT.
Yeah, so our next part of the build is basically move this out and bring grey worm in.
Grey worm can come in this side, be turned up on its side, have the body mounts done. Once the body mounts are welded, that can go straight back on the chassis.
Yeah, so our goal with that is to get grey worm mobile again, because at the moment it's in two parts, it takes up twice as much room. Get
the body on.
Back together, then we can come back and relook at things like the canopies that we're going to build for these. So yeah, guys, it's all go, but I think you'll appreciate that there's been a hell of a lot done in just 1 month, going from what this was to what this is now.
So, onward and upward.
Onward and upward. See you in the next video, guys. I want to see this thing drive. I want to see how quick it goes.
I want to drive it.
Yeah, this is all the Forby performance stuff in, guys, and this was pretty nippy as it was. Now it's lost about 500 kilos.
Yeah, it's a good 500 kilos lighter at the moment.
Yeah. So we've got more tuning videos coming up, guys. We've got the twin inlet manifold that we're going to install on Red 5, my Disco. Paul's obviously going to be tweaking all of this now to make sure it's running as best as it can with this additional weight that's now gone. So yeah, stay tuned and we'll see you in the next video.
See you later, guys.